I'm going to do a video today on how I plant seedlings that we grow, tropical fruit seedlings, organic system, all natural system, and where I learned it. I learned it as a child in Mendocino County, Jackson State Forest, planting redwoods and ponderosa pines, I believe. And they were all little tiny plugs. I try to make it as easy as possible on me, and I used to plant trees bigger, but to be honest with you, I found that trees like to be grown in the ground. So as soon as you can get them in the ground, the better, if you want a natural system. We don't use any non-organic fertilizers. We use cow manure. But you got to know where your cow manure comes from, because today the cows are fed GMO glyphosate ready corn. The hay is dried with glyphosate. So if you want to run a biological system, you really have to know where your input's coming from. So that we have our own miniature zebu. I've had horses my whole life, so I learned to pick up manure daily, and I carried that through with the cows. So I start all my seeds in a compost I make every other month, a huge pile. I've been doing it for 3 years straight, compost, making our own. And I mainly do it so I can start seeds. It's attached to the ground, I don't turn it. I just make it, usually around a full moon, the end of the month. And then in about 8 months, sometimes sooner, but usually 8 months, it starts getting pretty good. Unless you're growing vegetables, then you could use it sooner. So this is a pot that I threw out, and these have been in here about, I don't know, 3 months, 4 months maybe, max. You can see there's sand in there, and you could still make out a little bit of pine shavings. So it's got a lot of the natural soil. And I don't water the citrus, and I didn't water these jaboticabas. The Sabara Jaboticabas, 4 different types from Hawaii. And I try to buy seeds in bulk, so like in 50 lots, and then I put seeds all together in the same pot in our compost if I can, if I have multiple seeds to put together. And I pull out some weeds if they start growing above the trees, but if they're not, like this is gonna get big, this Biden, so I would pull that out. But the grass, I tend to leave. And then when they get about this big, you know, 4 inches, 2 to 4 inches, I plant them. And I throw this out here, and then I break off a little piece. And looks like there's a Sabara Jaboticaba and citrus. I don't grow a lot of Jaboticaba because I was fortunate enough to taste a lot of the fruit at a farm, that Flying Fox fruit, and I mostly wanted the Garcinias. I was interested in Garcinias, so that's what I went after. But I have a Jaboticaba. I have more than one, but I'm gonna see how they do. So I take this off, and you notice the soil is all attached to the root. These haven't been watered, and this soil is wet. It hasn't rained in quite a while. So here's this little Jaboticaba. I'm gonna take it over here. This is basically how I learned as a 7-year-old child in Mendocino County, California, at Jackson State Forest. So I drop it in there behind the shovel, right in the grass. You just put the shovel right in the grass. Don't remove anything. Don't disturb the soil. So you want all that biology intact. So see it drop down in there, and it looks like the seed is like right at the soil. The seed that's attached is right at the soil surface. And then I pull the shovel out. There's my little tree. And then I tamp this down. With my fan, then I poke my fingers to get it like make sure there's no rodents, basically. And I don't water these. I don't connect them to water. I don't water them. I don't have to. Biological systems provide the water and the nutrition. There's no fertilization needed if you're in a natural agroforestry system like this, that you've worked on the soil health. Soil health is everything. Without soil health, this tree would not survive. So, yeah, there's a little Sabara Jaboticaba, maybe from Frankie's, the tree at Frankie's nursery, I don't know, from Hawaii somewhere on the island. And then the only thing I do to guarantee that tree's success is I get my trusty pitchfork and I collect a zebu turd, because I was also taught as a child, when you wanted to grow food, vegetables in particular, what do? And the answer was get some cow manure. So it's kind of different than, this is different than like regular cows. It's first of all, we raise them biodynamically and do rotational grazing, and only feed them grass, organic hay, organic approved hay. And so we know what's going into our system. So then I take this turd, fresh turd, this is just You can't burn food with grass-fed cow manure because the nitrogen is only 5% and it's not all readily available. So you can stack this pretty high around the tree. You don't want to, bury the tree, but the more you can give it, the better. But I have to provide the whole system, so our manure is used sparingly. So I put this turd right there. There's the tree, there's the turd. And that will guarantee this little tree's survival. I also like to have it at the lowest part next to the tree, so in other words, as close to the Earth's surface as you can get, which is kind of hard in this system because our cover is so healthy. That's the lowest part. So there's a little tree, there's the manure. And that's why we stay off this, because we've been doing this with like seeds and seedlings, citrus and garcinias. And then there's all kinds of little oak trees from the forest. We don't have to plant native stuff, it just comes up. And then the stuff that grows in the pots, I don't worry about it. Like, people would freak out if they saw this growing in their pot of achacha trees. But, because unless you top dress this, you have to keep top dressing this. I don't top dress, and this one has to be put in the ground. It's dropped from here to here. So once it starts dropping like this, you should, if you're going to keep it in a pot, you should keep top dressing. In this case, it would be more of our compost, like an inch. So top dressing for pot culture, if you want to be organic, is really important. Anyway, I just wanted to share how I grow seeds. Now I'm going to plant these 30 trees I have here, these little trees, hopefully in about an hour or less. Have a good day.